Hello everyone, welcome back to another Solidworks lecture. So for this lecture we're going to continue to expand upon our knowledge of assembly mates. So far we've gone over the standard mates. Now we're going to start moving into the advanced mate section and how to work with those. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new assembly file. So for those of you who are in my normal lecture classes, you'll find a zip file with the files you'll need to work through this. So under week 10 in classroom material, I'm going to go into advanced mates, and I'm just going to bring in, I think I want to bring in the slide block. That's the one I want to bring in first. Yep, that's going to be the one. Okay. So real quick, let's take a look at what's under the advanced mate section. So under advanced mates, we've got a couple different options. We've got profile, center, we've got symmetric mate, we've got the width mate, a path mate, linear coupler, and we've got distance limiter. So we're going to go over how to handle the distance limiter, the angle limiter, the width mate again, as well as the profile center. That's what we're going to go over in this particular lecture. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in a slide, and I'm going to place it in this channel. So I'm going to mate it. So coincident mate, I'll make this surface and this surface coincident. And then I'm going to make sure that it's right in the middle of that channel. So I'm going to go to the advanced mates. I'm going to use width. So remember, with selection, I'll select this side and this side. And for the tabs, I'll select this. I'll select that. Alright, so that'll put it within the channel. Now let's say I wanted to be able to have this mate freely slide. I can go ahead and I can add in a distance limiter. So right now it's set to, it'll position it at 1. So I'll select this face and this face. And right here is where I can set the maximum and the minimum value. So I'm going to set this to 0. And I'm just going to take a wild guess on where the maximum distance can be. Let's say maximum distance will be 8. So this face will now be able to freely slide from 1 inch away from this wall to 8 inches away from that wall. So it's not quite far enough. So let me just take a measurement. So I'm going to go evaluate, measure, and delete that. I don't want that. This face and this face. So that's a total distance of 12 inches. So let's just take a quick look at how wide this block is. I think it's 2 inches. So only 1 inch. Okay. So I need to make that mate 11. So I'm going to go back in here, distance limiter, edit, and I'm going to make the maximum distance 11. So now it'll be free to slide back and forth and never leave the channel. Let's take a look at some of the other mates that are in it. So let's take a look at how to use the linear coupler. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in another one. Another slide. I'm going to mate it. To this surface. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll put it right in the center. Okay. So what the linear coupler does is it couples the movement of one face to another. So let's say I want to couple this face and this face. So it's going to move at a ratio of 1 to 1. So the blue is this one. Every 1 inch this moves, this one will also move 1 inch. So let me demonstrate that. So I added the linear coupler in. I move this one, and the other one's going to move with it. And let's go back into it and edit it a little bit. Let's make this 2. And now it's going to move at a ratio of 1 to 2. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the other things we got in here. So we've got an angle limiter. I'm going to show you that with a different assembly. So let's go ahead and take a look at what the profile center does. So what the profile center will do is it'll find the center point of 2 surfaces and lock them together. So let's demonstrate that. So I'm going to go to a new assembly. Oops, I want a new assembly, not a new drawing. Let me back out. File, new assembly. So let's go ahead and let's bring in, I'm going to bring in, let's bring in this dome. And then I'm going to bring in, let's say I bring in this cylinder. Now I want to put this surface right in the middle of this surface. So I can do that with the profile center. So go Mate, Advanced Mates, Profile Center. And then I'll click this face, and I'll click this face, and it'll lock the 2 profiles together on the center point. I also have the option to lock rotations and prevent it from rotating, and also flip the dimension if necessary if I want to distance it a certain amount. So if I want to go 1 inch away, 2 inches, or 20, or flip it, it'll be the opposite way. So let's take a look at how to use the angle limiter. The angle limiter is a little bit trickier. So I'm going to go into a new assembly. And I'm going to put together a hinge. So I'll bring in this hinge, and I'm going to bring in hinge number 2. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and constrain them together. So concentric. Lock them in like that. And I'll go coincident, this surface, and this surface. Okay. So the hinge is free to swing around, but I don't want it to be able to swing through. I like to lock it so so the hinge would be in line in this particular orientation, but I want to be able to swing it around so it'll just touch and not go any further. So I'd like to bring your attention to an option in the Move Component section. So I come down here to Options and I click on Collision Detection. It'll make a noise, or it'll let me know when I'm touching another surface. I'm going to rotate this, and it won't let me go any further. It might make a noise for me. I might just have the option turned off. So this is going to be an important value when I'm coming up with my angle limit. So I want to be able to find out what this angle is between this surface and this surface. So hit OK. I'm going to go to Evaluate, Measure, and I'm going to get that angle. So the angle is 11.23 degrees. So I'm going to remember that for when I do my angle limit. All right, so once we've got this hinge in this particular orientation and we found out what that angle is, let's go ahead and try to get the angle limiter in. So go Mate, advanced mates, angle limiter. So this one can be a little tricky. You'll sometimes have to play with negative angles, positive angles, and flip the alignment a couple times to try to get it right. So it can be a little tricky. So let's start by putting 11.23 as the starting position. So I'm going to select that surface and this surface. So let's start with a maximum value of 180 and a minimum value of 11.23 and see what it does. So it's not allowing me to rotate it in the way I want it to, but it'll rotate in this direction. So let's try changing a few things up. So go back in and I'll edit it. I'm going to try flip dimension, see what it does. We're going to 180. So that's going in the right direction now, but it's not going to the proper 1123. Let me try flipping it this way. That's 180 this way, and let's try going 11.23. It's not going the right way I want it to. So let me try flipping it. So it's not quite right. So let's try this. I'm going to put 11.23 here, and I'm going to put minus 180 here and see if that helps us out any. So edit. Let's try. Okay, so that's in the right position. That's good. Let's go to minus 180. Almost got it. So if the minimum value minus 180, maximum value 11.23. And let's see if that works. Hit OK. I'll rotate it, and it's not rotating in the way I want it to. So this is something you'll just have to play around with to try to get it in the proper way that you want it. But it could be a very useful tool when you're working on dynamic parts that tend to swing on an angle. So that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to get more content such as this. I'll see you around next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.